Hi everyone. I often get asked, which pips are the most destructive? There is no short quick answer to this question. There are destructive pips, many of them, but the most destructive pips do not exist. Or perhaps someone is deliberately hiding them from me. I understand the people who don't want to know all this and just want to get the most destructive pips. And they are probably thinking right now, bro, come on, just tell us the most destructive pips right now and stop wasting our time. Alright, here are a few names. But once again, I warn you that it's impossible to give a precise answer to the question of which pips are the most destructive, since there are several nuances that affect the answer. Now, I'll give you a more detailed response to this question. For example, it sometimes happens that there are well-known destructive pips. Many players know that they are very destructive. At some point, the manufacturer of these pips makes some changes to them, either to the rubber composition or to the geometry of the pips. But they continue to produce the pips under the same name and in the same packaging. Because of these changes, the pips start to play differently. Their properties change, and their destructiveness is greatly reduced. But all players continue to think of them as destructive, simply because this belief has become entrenched among many pips players, and they share it with each other. But these pips are no longer destructive. Don't ask me why manufacturers do this. I don't know. But I know that this happens from time to time. By the way, while we're making interesting and useful videos and reviews for you, feel free to visit our TT Maximum store more often for your purchases. It will be your best way to thank us for our videos. Next, the destructiveness of the pips depends on the blade. Quite significantly, in fact. It also slightly depends on the rubber that's glued to the other side of the racket. For example, the influence of the second rubber can often be ignored, but the influence of the blade cannot be ignored. You might take a racket with pips from a friend, start playing, and discover that the pips are quite destructive. You're happy, yay, I found destructive pips for myself, just what I wanted. You order them, wait a week, they arrive, you glue them on your racket, go to play, and something feels off. Where's the destructiveness that was there last time? It's not there. It's there, but it's less, and you were expecting something really different. The reason for this disappointment is that you have a different blade, and the pips that were destructively playing on your friend's blade play differently on yours. This doesn't always happen, it depends on how different the parameters of the blades are. Blades have parameters like softness or hardness, flexibility, speed, and the ball's dwell time on the surface. If the blades are similar, you can assume the pips will play similarly on them. But there are exceptions, and sometimes the rubber, whether pips or inverted, for some unexplained reason doesn't play well on a particular blade. I mention this just in case. It doesn't happen often, but there's a chance. Furthermore, the destructiveness of pips is not absolute. For example, long pips like the Imperial Vector Pro OX. They are not highly destructive, their destructive effect is generally not above average, but they have a pretty nasty block. Firstly, it's easy to do a block. Secondly, with these pips, you can make different types of blocks, including a bold aggressive block with a push forward against topspin, even against a powerful attack. If you block with these pips properly and do it often, your opponents will be in trouble. The ball from these pips is often short, and it's hard to continue the attack. And when you make the aforementioned aggressive block, the ball flies quickly at first but then quickly loses speed and flies on a shorter, more unusual trajectory. As a result, continuing the attack on such a ball becomes difficult and risky. So, if you're standing at the table and building your game around blocking with long pips, and your blade is not soft, you could say that the most destructive pips for you are the Vector Pro OX. But I assert that the Dr. Neubauer Desperado OX pips are more destructive than the Vector Pro. The block is more destructive, but it's harder to land a block on the table because the pips are much faster. But the aggressive pushing with the Desperado is much more dangerous, or in other words, significantly more destructive. And experienced pip players know that aggressive pushing is the most frequently used technique with long pips. By the way, right now I ask everyone to kindly like this video. It will be a warm-up for your thumb as well. Also, I once had a situation. I used to play a lot in tournaments with one defender, and I usually beat him more often than he beat me because I like playing against defense. But then the situation changed. and he started beating me more often because I began making a lot of mistakes against his defense. I hit into the net, or off the table, or into the net again, or off the table. The thing is, he started playing more destructively while defending against my attack. And let me tell you, it was very unpleasant. Now, in order to play destructively like that in defense, the above-mentioned pips won't work. For this, you need something like the Inher Neptune 0.7 or DR Neubauer Boomerang Classic with a sponge. There are also destructive medium pips like DR Neubauer KO or DR Neubauer Aggressor. And there are even destructive short pips, but they are definitely not for defense, they are for offensive play. Thus, the conclusion emerges: the destructiveness of pips depends on what you intend to do with them. This is not the end of the nuances. For example, a friend of mine played with pips he liked. When they started to wear out, he ordered the same ones from AliExpress because they were cheaper on AliExpress. He waited a month for them to arrive, glued them on his racket, and the pips immediately started breaking away. What was that about? It's unclear. If you have any ideas, share them in the comments. So, in this case, the rubber turned out to be unusable. And this makes you think about who you're dealing with when buying table tennis equipment. Now I plan to wrap up this topic and draw a conclusion. You can continue asking which pips are the most destructive. The subsequent result might suddenly disappoint you. Therefore, it's better to reflect on and analyze the aforementioned aspects, study rubber's reviews, and make an informed decision based on the information you've gathered. You can also reach out to our store, and we'll help you pick the most suitable option for you. This will be the quickest way. Just contact the store, let us know you want some destructive pips, and we'll ask you clarifying questions and suggest something suitable for you. That's all. If you have any questions about this topic, feel free to ask them in the comments below the video.